And joining us now to talk more about the case, former Assistant State's Attorney and current defense attorney Thomas Glasgow. Boy, this feels like an end around. The media was sitting outside waiting to see George Ryan, if he would go in, what was the decision going to be. And the whole time he was going in, spent time, and then took off. This is a huge surprise.
Well, this is something that the Bureau of Prisons will do when they do move people who are high profile, or they do move people that may be a risk or a danger. They'll move them in some form of secretive way. The Illinois Department of Corrections does it, the Federal Bureau of Prisons does it, and it's to not only protect the safety of the inmate, but to protect the safety of the people guarding him and the potential for escape or some collusion from the outside.
So why even bother continuing to go through the court system? Because, I mean, we even heard from Jim Thompson, his attorney friend, that they were waiting to hear from the courts and waiting to hear from the Bureau of Prisons. They really snowed us. I mean, around here, everybody's kind of like, darn it, we got. You know, why even go through that process?
Well, I'm sure this was part of the mercy that both the courts and the executive branch realized and exercised properly for Mr. Ryan. If you recall, Scott Faywell ended up going to see the funeral. He was gone for 2 hours. That was something that was dictated and was allowed to him. In this particular situation, he wasn't treated any differently, and in this particular situation, this is something that is within the guidelines and within the warden's discretion to do. I think that this is probably something they realized they would have to do because it was a sympathy issue. I mean, they had been together for 50 years. They had had a great deal of devotion between each other, and there was no question from that by either Judge Pallmeyer or anyone else that him and Lura Lynn truly loved one another and truly do care about each other. And this was something that is important not only to Mr. Ryan, but to show that the government is not the harsh big beast that, you know, the defense would portray it to be.
Sure, and that makes sense. Yeah. Now, who pays for something like this? Because I think, I mean, in as much as we are maybe happy that he got a chance to see his wife, you know, nobody really wants to fork over, I can imagine.
The code says that on furloughs of this nature that the family is supposed to bear the expense of the furlough. So more than likely they will go ahead and charge back to the Ryan family at some point the cost of transportation, the cost of guard, the hours. The taxpayers should not bear any expense on this according to the Code of Federal Regulations. It is for all the high crimes and misdemeanors. It was good that he got to see his wife and he got to spend the time with her before she died.
All right. Thanks so much, Tom. Appreciate
you coming in. It's good to see you.
You too.